morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from worldwide. I'm Sterling, and it's great to have you back on the channel. This show is being recorded for Sunday, January 29th, 2023. The year's going very fast. These shows are recorded for entertainment purposes only, so all the information I share with you comes directly real time through my guides, angels, extended spiritual counsel, ETs, famous people from history, so for entertainment purposes only. For those of you to reach me, just go to sterlingpsychicmedium.com, look for the Book a Session tab. Very straightforward from there. We're also running a contest for those that watch the channel all the time. Every time we reach a new level of 1,000 subscribers, we actually select a new winner of a free half-hour session with myself. And the way you enter the contest is by placing comments in these shows, starting off with the word love, so you know you want to be in the contest. And then we actually randomly select the winner from the comments using a computer app on the show where we actually cross over to the next 1,000 subscribers. And right now, I think we're headed towards 36,000 subscribers, if I remember correctly. Also, if you get a moment, just remember to like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. All those things really help the channel. So thanks for everybody's participation, and wonderful to be with you here each week. Also, you know, we do place a request for questions for these shows every Monday on our community board on our YouTube channel. And that's where all the questions come from. My wife does go through all the questions that are submitted and then tries to refine it down to a final list of questions that they think are the most helpful to the audience. And then I look at them real time with you here on these shows. One comment she wanted to make is she just wanted to make sure that everybody offers up questions that are really kind of beneficial to the audience at large. Sometimes questions can be very personal, and we usually don't address those on these shows. Questions like, you know, will I get a job next week, or am I going to move next month? Or if they're very specific to you and they won't be helpful to the audience at large, then they really aren't addressed on these shows. And that's really more appropriate for a reading with a psychic medium, as opposed to, you know, covering them on a large public platform like these shows. So my wife just wanted to offer up that comment. So thank you again for all the wonderful, thoughtful questions, and just want to make sure that they keep getting geared to things that will benefit the audience at large. So thank you for all that. I think we had 56 questions in the countdown this week, and we always like to start off the session with a mediumship. We had several requests for Princess Diana. Now, what I like to do is I really like to kind of, in some respects, leave the microphone open all week. Got my psychic mediumship microphone to see who wants to come to the podium. And for about 3 days straight, I did keep getting Princess Diana really wanted to get a message out. So starting off this week's show with, does Princess Diana have a message for us? Question 56. I did bring her through this morning, and I always like to write down exactly what they had to say, so I'm going to read that back for you right now. Value those around you, because everyone has a message that will help you along your journey, some in very unexpected ways. I'm extremely proud of my children and the way they have developed their own sense of independence in the world. The world is going through rapid changes, but everything will eventually become unified in a more focused way around humanity. Please do not be concerned about my life path, because I fulfilled my life's journey. I stand with many kings, queens, ascended masters, and noble individuals on the other side, helping to create greater sense of unity among everyone. Thank you for all the kind thoughts and love you continue to show to me. Now, please take that feeling of gratitude and grace and give it back to the world. This will honor what I tried to do on earth. You're all special in your own way, and every element of humanity plays an important role in moving the world forward. No one is less than or more than another in this world. Keep in mind the changes you are seeing play out in the royal family are a small part of the transitions that are taking place around the world at large. Look for new ways that are developing to view and understand royalty in a way that is much more serving of humanity and less about a focus on key individuals. I love all of you and send grace and a new level of awakening and consciousness to the world. See you in your dreams. So wonderful message from Princess Diana. And then, once the message came through, I fully understood why she wanted to share with everybody. So blessings and sending love and light to Princess Diana. And still like she's doing wonderful work on the other side to help move the world along. Okay, 55 in the countdown. Will Charles McGonigal, the arrested former FBI official with ties to Oleg Deripaska, survive in jail long enough to share what he knows on others? Well, I am concerned he's in great danger, but it comes across to me as he's already starting to share a great deal of information, and it looks like they're going to try to safeguard him, but I'm highly concerned for his safety due to offshore elements that do not want him talking. So I guess the answer to the question, I do see him sharing what he needs to tell government officials, and has already started. 54. Now that Pence has been found with classified documents, will this change how things turn out for Biden? Well, I've got all along that it looks like there's, I'm going to call it key aides or staffers for both Biden and Pence that somehow are involved in the misplacement of these documents, these secret documents. So it does look like, by virtue of the fact that these are going to be administrative problems coming out, that it seems like both Pence and Biden will kind of fall into the same category. They'll be quite different than what happens with 45 in terms of prosecution on those top secret documents. 53, a type of cloud called the lenticular cloud form sure does look like types of UFO or ET ships in disguise. What does your team have to say about this? These are not ET ships. They are cloud structures. But what's interesting is many extraterrestrial ships use anti-gravity propulsion systems, and these actually, in some respects, can help to cloak ships. So, you actually, in many cases, won't see ET ships or UAPs unless they want to be seen or there's something else going on there with that. So no, these lenticular clouds are not ET ships disguised. 52, Senator Ted Cruz introduced a constitutional amendment Monday to impose term limits for members of Congress. Will it pass? Looks to me like it's not going to go anywhere. It's going to fall on its face. But interesting, I do see a term limits law or something coming up here as we get much closer to 2024 elections. So something about there being a big push at that time, but looks like something around term limits for members of Congress. I think that's what for members of Congress, right? It looks like 2024 towards the end is going to be a lot of progress in that area for term limits. 51. Are the classified documents being found only coming to light because the former guy prevented the archives from being able to log files? No, not necessarily. What I get is documentation procedures being in poor state of affairs, let's put it that way, for decades around the archive. So, going back many decades, looks like there's problems around the archive. So no, I doesn't pick it up as the former guy's fault. It looks like it's something having to do with procedures here. They're actually going to get revamped this year in 2023 and come under much better scrutiny. It's all coming. 50, popular mechanics reported the Earth's molten core has stopped spinning, which happens every 7 decades or so. Does this affect the planet's inhabitants in any way? Well, it's true. The spin does change every number of decades. Could be 7 to 10 decades. So it does change gravitational forces within the Earth. So it does change the movement of waterways, oceans, weather patterns, even the movement of tectonic plates for earthquakes. It does, yes. Okay, 49, the countdown. Does someone that doesn't believe in God go to heaven? Yes, absolutely. Everything that crosses over gets aligned back in an extremely loving environment and is aligned with the one source and the one force, regardless of the beliefs they expounded when they were here on Earth. 48. Will actor Jeremy Renner, who suffered 30 broken bones in a snowplow accident, recover from his injuries? He was attempting to help a stranded family member during a storm. I get absolutely a full recovery, but it's going to take several years. But looks like he'll get back to acting fairly shortly. So lingering effects, healing, whatever this is, for a few years. But it does look like he's going to make a full recovery. So sending out a lot of healing energy and blessings and love and light to Jeremy and his family. 47. One evening a few years ago, my dear friend was alone sitting on a couch in my mother's home and saw the corner of her eye a full-size figure quickly move from one room across the hall and disappear into the wall. This male dark figure was medium height, dressed totally in black with a mid-coat, top with a black derby hat. His face was not visible. She felt dark, unsettling energy. Who was it or what was it? My team's telling me, and I've seen these before, these are what are called the Hat Men. And Hat Men are not evil. They're actually very benevolent, but they're actually many times will make an appearance if there's some sort of an important warning coming up. Sometimes this will occur. Individuals see Hat Men around military bases or war zones or something of that nature. But they even make appearances to a lot of families. If there's some kind of warning coming up and they're trying to make the family aware or be extra cautious. So nothing dark here, but these are the Hat Men, and they're reported all around the world. 46, is there really any connection between President Lincoln and Kennedy? We always hear of all the coincidences in their lives, the similarities while they were in office, unfortunately, how their lives ended. Is there anything to these theories? I don't get any direct relationship between the two presidents. I do get that they're part of the same extended spiritual family on the other side. So say no direct reincarnation of one to the other, but they are directly related to the same extended spiritual family, which does contain many presidents. And so not unusual that two members from that family became presidents. 45, longtime listener, first-time caller here. I'm wondering about Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau's Bill C-11, if it will pass and what the outcome will be for freedom of speech and the truth. Well, it does look like it's going to pass, whatever C-11 is. It looks like it's related to fair use of content. So this has something to do with making sure that content across streaming and broadcast and TV is fair and doesn't incite violence or riots. So something about safeguarding types of content. So it does look like, to me and my team, C-11 is going to pass. I'm not sure if that's within a few months here, but looks like it'll eventually pass. 44, will Sweden join NATO? Turkey says no, and will they change their mind? I always saw, I think this question about Sweden, right? Yes, Sweden. I always saw Sweden and Finland getting into NATO. I know that Turkey, the head of Turkey is fighting this, but looks like negotiations will come around related to safeguarding Turkey, because Turkey's kind of concerned that maybe Sweden, Finland, or Sweden and Pacific are harboring terrorists against Turkey. But it looks like this is all going to get worked out, and they'll increase safeguards with what they're calling terrorists and housing of terrorists. This is all going to get worked out. I don't think it's going to take as long as 6 months, and maybe a little faster here, but it's all going to get worked out. 43, do the transcripts of 45's private meeting with Putin still exist? Will they ever be made public? I do see DOJ and several forms of the federal government already have the transcripts. They do exist. And there will be some portions of the transcript released to the public, but not until next year, until 2024. 42, can you answer a question related to something you said on your most recent show about human-alien hybrids? You replied that yes, there are such hybrids working among us on Earth right now. My question is this: do these hybrid people know they are hybrids, or are they unaware of their special, unique heritage? It's been my experience that all ET alien hybrids, and not to be confused with the term starseed, because we're all starseeds in terms of how we originated millions of years ago. But ET hybrids do have a special mission, and they're very well connected to several ET groups. And so they're down here performing a mission to help humanity. So they're very knowledgeable of it. They're very connected, and yes, they know. 41. Will there be a better way to get rid of tattoos? Right now, there is a painful laser technique. Yes, new techniques coming up in 5 years using what looks like blue laser technology. So it looks like it will allow the skin to heal faster and be more effective. So I'm picking up something about blue laser technology, and every wavelength of laser has different energy to it. So a laser that's in the blue spectrum has higher energy, shorter wavelength. Not to get too technical, but they're telling me a blue laser technology coming up in 5 years will be very helpful for this. 40. Hi, Sterling. Are people who commit violent crimes like serial killers, for example, newer or older souls, or is there no connection to how many times they have reincarnated? I never see any direct connection to say new soul or old soul. I think that's what they're asking us, right? New soul or old soul. There's a finite number of souls in the universe, all created at the same time. The term newer or older has a lot to do with the number of reincarnations you've had on Earth. But there's no direct connection, let's say, to serial killers being older souls or newer souls. It really all connects to their life path blueprint. 39. Charles McGonigal, a former FBI counterintelligence officer, was indicted for money laundering and ties to Russian oligarch Oleg Deripaska. What can your guides tell us about the crimes he committed, and will he be convicted? Are there other DOJ employees or former employees that have also committed traitorous crimes? If so, will they also be prosecuted? Well, I think it's yes to all the questions that this person asked. This particular FBI agent, I'm also being told, was the tip of the iceberg. So many individuals that he worked with and communicated with over the years, both inside government, outside government, that trail of communications is already being uncovered. So he's the tip of the iceberg. They'll be prosecuted, and this is kind of a weeding out of a cancer in our federal government and our FBI. It's going to get back to normal. It's going to take a few years here, I'm sorry to say, but at least in terms of Charles McGonigal and a lot of his associates, they're going to be found out and convicted. Absolutely. 38. I adopted a rescued dog in late 2014, about a year and a half after I started to feel guilty about having to leave him alone on the days I went to work, and I began to consider adopting another rescue so he would have a companion. Over Labor Day 2016, my neighbor found a malnourished and scarred little stray. I ended up adopting him. My question is, did my first dog attract the second dog into his life, or was it a joint effort on both our parts? Do pets manifest companions or situations when they need or want them? Well, animals are part of the angelic realm. You hear me say it all the time on this channel. They communicate very well with our guides, angels, and they have a very strong team on the other side. So this is a collective effort between your guides and angels that heard your concerns, heard your desires, along with your first dog. So it's a mutual community effort. Absolutely. 37. I'm an empath and have been experiencing really low vibrational emotions and have emotions and energy for a few months now. My question is, what percentage of these emotions come from us, and what percentage comes from the collective energy field? There's a way to know the difference. Well, it's a good question. The simple answer, it depends on each individual. So each empath will manage their energy and how they attract energy and level out the energy and control that energy in different ways. So it depends on the individual. But I find many empaths, the majority, are taking in a great deal of energy from the world around them. And so my experience with a lot of empaths is a smaller percentage is from their own fears and emotions, much larger percentages from the world at large. So learn how to use the gift. There's courses on how to manage being an empath. It's quick protective prayers you can say. So you can sage yourself occasionally. It's like taking a spiritual shower to cleanse yourself. But in answer to this question, depends on the individual, but most individuals I find they're empaths are taking a lot of the world's energy as a larger percentage. 36, my question is, are all the missing people in South Dakota related to a serial killer or traffickers? Many are natives, and it's distressing that more isn't reported on all these missing people. I get this breaks down to, yes, there are serial killers and traffickers, but in terms of my team's telling me, if you look at, let's say, younger children and women, a lot more trafficking going on in that area. So for children and women, and then other individuals are being affected by a serial killer. So it looks like a large percentage are being trafficked to me. But then again, they're just emphasizing when you look at women and children in this area. Really sorry to see this. And I'm hoping the authorities start getting a much better handle on all this. But unfortunately, it looks like even areas of government are somehow complicit in this. So there's money being exchanged or something. So hearts and prayers and love and light go out. All these individuals in South Dakota. Yeah, South Dakota, they're experiencing all this. Prayers, love and light going out. Okay, 35 in the countdown. In October 2018, Anne Elizabeth Hagen disappeared from her home in Norway. Huge case in Scandinavia. Can you see what happened and where her body is? Will the case ever be solved? Well, it will be solved. It's going to take a few years here. It does look to me like there was a ransom involved and individuals involved here. So the authorities are kind of on the trail. It's going to take a few more years here to solve. Unfortunately, it does look like this individual is deceased and in a large body of water. So this could be Norwegian Sea or something of that nature. So hearts and prayers and love and light go out to this family. I'm sorry to see these things, but it looks like it will be solved, and authorities have a pretty good idea, even now, who's involved. But for some reason, it's going to take a few more years to connect all the dots and put this together. So, unfortunately, this individual got caught up in. It's not the individual's fault, but it's like a family member, and that's why there was a big ransom being asked for. Something going on here with large financial markets or something. 34, high Sterling, does listening to different vibrational frequencies have a positive effect at the subconscious level? Yes. Creates different levels of relaxation. And yes, frequencies, the body is very sensitive to frequencies. That's why even to simply put music in many areas really relaxes people or gives them a certain energetic feeling. Music is composed of many different complex frequencies and overtones. But yes, different types of frequencies can create relaxation, different healing elements in the body. It's all very true. By the way, they just remind me that almost everything living, even animals, vibrate with certain frequencies that can be healed and relaxed with certain frequencies. So remind me, not just human beings, but animals, all things. 33, will there be a treatment that significantly helps ease the suffering for people living with Rett syndrome in the near future? Yes, within a decade, but this is going to involve, I'm going to call it an electrical stimulus treatment along with CRISPR technology. So there is something coming, but it's kind of a two-prong approach here, kind of at the cellular gene level with CRISPR technology, and then also something here with electrical stimulus of the brain. 32, will Texas Democrats be able to break Texas Republicans' grip on power in the state in any way within the next 8 to 10 years? They will. But I'm getting it's closer to the 2028 election cycle, so it might be a lot faster than whoever asked this question, but looks like kind of a big swing towards democratic ways of looking at things and democratic candidates, but more closer to 2028. 31, high Sterling and team. 2023 is predicted to be a year where we take one of the most significant technological leaps since the invention of the internet with the rollout of AI technology. What does your team see as the outcome of this? How will it improve our lives? And are there any temporary drawbacks, like the elimination of millions of jobs because AI can do jobs much better? What should we be aware of? Well, this question has come up before. So, no such incredible tipping point just in the year 2023. This is an evolution going on here across many years. Yes, AI technology is coming. Artificial intelligence technology is going to do things much faster and derive relationships from very large databases that human beings can't see. So, very useful in many areas. But what's important is that it's the combining of AI technology and supercomputer technology that's coming, that where supercomputers be able to process transactions faster than real time. All these things collectively will really change a lot of the things that humanity gets involved in. Now, elimination of jobs, I wouldn't put it that way. I'd put it that the workforce is going to shift into a much different way. So they'll do things that AI and supercomputers won't be doing. So the shift in the way that people enter the workforce, support the workforce, and AI and supercomputers will be giving you a much different set of tools. So I hope that's helpful. Think about a new set of tools and things that AI and supercomputers will do that humans aren't good at, and then humans will actually adapt into a new type of a workforce. 30, will they find a cure for celiac disease? Yes. Here again, CRISPR technology is going to be very helpful in about 8 years, but looks like it's going to bolster or have something to do with the immune system. So some kind of a change in the immune system or bolstering the immune system for me that helps with people with celiac disease. I'm not a doctor, but this is just what they're telling me. 29. Hi, Sterling. I was listening to a UFO experiencer on a podcast. Her story was fascinating until she got to the part where she warned that a deadly electric magnetic pulse was coming that would occur in the next 2 years. It would destroy civilization as we know it. What does your team say? No such event coming. No. There are what they call CME events coming. They're like massive solar flares coming from the sun. They do cause magnetic disruption. So there are CME events coming from the sun, but they will not wipe out civilization. They'll cause some hardship, knocking out some infrastructure and communications, but no such thing. The annihilation of humanity or civilization, I think, is how this person, or destroy civilization as we know it. No. 28. Will the 1984 murder of Christina Hickey in Park Forest, Illinois ever be solved? I'm being told it will, and it will through DNA evidence. So there's some sort of a DNA connection here around the murder that's going to be very helpful. It looks to me like whatever's happening with this investigation, authorities are dragging their feet, maybe because the caseload's too high or something here. But there's going to be DNA evidence coming up here in just a few years that's going to solve this case. 27. I know this is a broad topic, but why are there so many Americans acting out in undemocratic and unlawful ways? Do we just know more about it than we did prior to social media, or is it a new phenomenon? Well, I get it. I get this element's always been there, but it's mobilized much more effectively, if you will, in a stronger way due to the use of social media. So more people can share, ideas that aren't so supportive of society and rally together. So it has a lot to do with the social media component, connecting individuals of like mind. So it's not that it's a new phenomenon in terms of society. The element's always been there in society. But now social media is connecting them much faster and mobilizing them. 26. Sterling, what will be the outcome of the Larry Householder racketeering trial, ex-Speaker of the House of Ohio, wherein he and other Republicans accepted bribes from First Energy in a historic amount of $60 million? I get something about this is going to be a clean sweep and a victory for authorities. So it looks like there'll be conviction in this case, along with a number of others. But my team's telling me like a clean sweep. So it's going to be effective prosecution coming up around this. 25. There have been several murders last year, 2022, where bodies were being found in the river and lake around Chicago. Are they seeing the work of a new serial killer? Yes. So this is a serial killer that's in effect. But I'm also being told he's been doing this for years. So not just 2022, Looks like you go back all the way to 2018, 2019. So there's actually a chain connection here with a serial killer. But whoever asked this question, they're asking about the year 2022. My team's saying it's actually been going on for years. So authorities will be able to kind of start connecting the dots from years ago. Okay, 24 in the countdown. Has a sentient artificial intelligent being been developed? No, not yet. There have been reports that certain, I think Google or saying had created one. No, not yet. This is when they're sentient, you're feeling and can anticipate feelings. And this takes a lot of computer power. Supercomputers will eventually be able to support this with artificial intelligence, but a sentient AI being has not been created. And it actually is a decade or two off here still. 23. Hi, Sterling. Can your team help us understand the difference between guides, angels, and ETs? Certainly. Whenever I talk to my team about this, a good explanation for guides is spiritual guides many times are individuals who have reincarnated many times and then gone back to the other side with a high level of skill to help support you and guide you. So they're actually individuals that walk the earth in many cases. Angels are highly connected to the angelic realm, obviously, and the one source, the one force. Different levels of angels. You have archangels, and then you have things like birth angels that are assigned individuals. And birth angels, there's millions and millions of birth angels that come out of the 8 houses of the archangels. And I think the other question here was ETs. Extraterrestrials are a highly evolved species. They can move through dimensions very easily, move around the universe very easily, but they're not angels. So hopefully that helps kind of articulate, some of the differences. Oh, they're reminding me, family members that crossed over do not become guides. Now they can be very helpful for you on the other side and kind of, attract your birth angels and guides to say, look, hey, Neil will help over here. They can kind of give you encouragement, support. But family members are still family members on the other side. They're not your guides. Okay. Hope that helps. 22. Hi, Sterling and team. Lately, I've been waking up in the middle of the night. When I wake up, I'm seeing the color green. And within this vision, I'm seeing letters and numbers. What am I experiencing? You're seeing the entrance to the Akashic records. 21. I'm president of a spiritual church and was told that there is a portal at our place. The vet upstairs had installed AC or air conditioning for animals. Since then, we've been having problems with heating off and on, even during the summer months. For weeks, everything is fine. Then the place is cold again. Seems it's a cycle. Does the portal have anything to do with this? And is the portal active? I'm not getting there's any portal whatsoever in this building, but you're actually having physical electrical problems in the building. So you might consult a good electrician, maybe even somebody who's good with building engineering and take a look at it. No such portal in the building, and portals even don't have those artifacts that you're describing. So rest assured you're okay, no portal, but I would get a electrician involved. 20, I did a spiritual exercise of forgiving people in my past and having forgiveness for myself. I noticed a few days after that, my daily arthritic pain has decreased greatly. Can you tell me if that spiritual exercise offered a healing for my pain? Absolutely. This is very common when we carry around anxiety or depression or fear. That does affect the body. When you release that, that actually does then have a physical effect on your body. So for whoever asked this question, 100%, I'm telling you that in alignment with your angels and guides and your team, you're actually able to navigate through that life lesson and lower the amount of pain. Congratulations. 19, dear Sterling and team, I frequently attract spiritual attachments that cause me to have physical pains and issues. I'm really confused as to what attracts them, as I rarely drink, have never smoked or done drugs. I have very tame sex life and a dull job. My empty nest household is mostly drama-free. What's the best way to shake the attachments and to prevent them once and for all? Well, fear, worry, anxiety, hate, anger, all these things attract lower level spirits. So it's not necessarily evil, but you'll attract lower level energy. And the same way you might attract lower energetic people in your life physically, you can attract spirits in that way. So I'd work towards maybe a little I'll give you a little diagnosis here, a little recommendation for meditation, some quiet time. Really try to ease any of the fear, anxiety you're carrying. So that looks to me like it has a lot to do with that, and that's kind of how you're tracking this lower level energy. 18, will the new Sundance documentary on Justice Kavanaugh result in any FBI investigations which were originally rushed? If so, what is the likelihood he could leave the court anytime soon? You know, I get the documentary itself is only complementary to investigations already going on. So it's not spurring on new investigation, but it's complementary. And I do get, looks to me like he will be removed within 2023, the latter part of this year. 17, are the different ET species on Earth all from the Galactic Federation and thus cooperating, or do they have conflicting agendas? No, by and large, all extraterrestrials have the same agenda in terms of testing and elevating and helping humanity. But by and large, they all are part of the Galactic Federation. There's a few outlying groups that don't come to Earth very often that are not part of the Galactic Federation. But by and large, the majority that are here that frequent Earth are all part of the Galactic Federation, and they're actually trying to help humanity. 16, hi Sterling, my question is about future technology or food. In Star Trek, they can materialize food in seconds using a special machine. Will humanity ever have something like this? Yes, within 50 years, but it'll be used to create, I'm going to call it staples for life. So proteins, sugars, breads, so like staples for life. That's what they're telling me. So there will be something within 50 years that can do this. 15, hi Sterling and team. My 11-year-old nephew has profound hearing loss due to malformed cochlear at birth. He does have cochlear implants for both ears. However, his hearing continues to decline. Do you see any new medical technology to improve cochlear issues? Yes, within 10 to 12 years, looks like there's biological 3D printing of cochlear coming up. I don't know what this is. I'm not a doctor, along with CRISPR technology. So a big part of so new implants, so they remind me here, new implants with biological 3D printing, along with nanotechnology. That's really micro electronics implants. So the combination of things here coming up within 10 to 12 years here that will help with this detriment. 14, greetings Sterling and team. One time a friend of the family went for a walk at our local lake here in Northern California. She walked over a certain area in the woods and it gave her the sensation of being super tall, like around 10 feet or so. What did she experience? This was a magnetic field center, and there are thousands on the Earth. So if you walk through a magnetic field center, the Earth generates these magnetic field centers by virtue of the way the Earth works internally, and that's what you're feeling when you walk through it. Okay, 13 in the countdown. I have heard that psychics and mediums have said that Marilyn Monroe is not easy to reach or connect with because she is either tired of feeling hounded in regards to her life or just doesn't want to address it anymore. Is this true? No, I don't find this to be the case at all. She, among a lot of people that had, let's say, more of a famous footprint on Earth, actually want to help from the other side. Now, remember, there's a TED principle I talk about all the time, T, E, and D. There's time alignment, energetic alignment, and desire, mutual desire by both the psychic medium and the person on the other side to want to communicate. So kind of the TED principle does come into effect. But I do find that Marilyn does talk on a very regular basis. She actually wants to communicate and help where she can. And she actually has some important messages, and they have a lot to do with, the balance between what I call internal beauty and external beauty. So I do find her very helpful and easy to communicate with. And I don't find, let's say, in terms of the aspects this person's asking about, don't find her difficult or not wanting to communicate when it's appropriate. 12, will there be changes to healthcare so the insurance companies will stop dictating to doctors and nurses what care and our tests they can provide? Yes, but not for another decade. We talk about CRISPR gene editing technology all the time, but it looks like when a large portion of CRISPR treatments, medications, and over a decade here are coming into play, that's going to change the balance of power and money and how a lot of things are being handled in the medical system. So, the desire, for example, to put somebody on a cancer treatment that's hugely expensive for 6 months, a lot of these things are going to shift. So it'll shift the way decisions are made, doctors make decisions, the speed of care. All these things are coming, but it's a bit over a decade away here. 11. Hi, Sterling. Can your guides say whether the guides assigned each person on Earth at this time are also going through a journey of their own life path to further their own advancement? Yes, everyone on the planet and everyone on the other side learns. So we're all in school every day around the planet here. Likewise, guides that work with you, and even angels, birth angels certainly, they all learn through your experiences. So it's really a bilateral approach, a learning process that goes on. And I thought that was fascinating when I first discovered that guides can learn through your interactions as much as they're helping you. So, it's everybody's learning no matter what side of the equation you're on here on Earth or on the other side. 10. Sterling, a few years ago in New Zealand, I had friends over for a barbecue and it was a dark, clear night. My friend and I looked up and saw 5 dots equal distant from each other in a perfect line, much closer to us than stars. We knew there were alien ships. Are there alien bases around New Zealand? Are they in contact with the New Zealand government? Do they mainly reside in the ocean, or are they some on land or underneath it? Read on this a few times, but there's many underwater bases around New Zealand. So a lot of activity in that part of the world. I don't pick up many bases, if any, on New Zealand, so on the land, but a lot of offshore, underwater, very deep ocean bases for extraterrestrials around New Zealand. That's very true. 9. In this physical world, contained in the physical universe, where our spiritual focus is perfecting unconditional love, is this also the spiritual focus of the other beings who inhabit or visit us? The beings who do not call Earth their primary home, but reside elsewhere in the physical universe. Kind of thematically resonates with this prior question, but all individuals, all entities, all spirits, guides, angels, ETs are not only trying to move towards a greater sense of love and purpose and help, but also learning in the process. So I think the question was, are they trying to move towards more unconditional love, perfect unconditional love? The more highly evolved you get on the planet and also on the other side, the closer you are to the one force, the one source, which is all about supreme unconditional love. So in essence, the simple answer to this question is yes, for the person that asked it. 8, will Baltic states just miles away from the Russian border be safe? So Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, yes, they'll all be safe, and they're all part of NATO. Now, by the way, it doesn't mean there's not going to be some tense times coming up, but I don't see any major cataclysmic event involving these 3 areas of the world. No, they're going to be okay. 7, hi Sterling and team. Can your group tell us anything about crop circles, such as who is making them and what the messages are in general? And I've read on this many times, but the large number of crop circles, the very detailed ones, are being created by extraterrestrials, and these are coded messages for the safety of the universe, safety of Earth. They're about technology. They're about history. And so the very detailed messages are being created by extraterrestrials. And a lot of scientists are already involved in this process of understanding them, documenting them, recording what they're all about. So hopefully this helps. They're all very much extraterrestrial driven. There are a few around the world that are hoaxes where people are trying to recreate them. But there's scientific evidence, for example, the ones that are real. They can do microscopic analysis, for example, on the grass or the wheat stalks where it occurred, and they can see, using even scanning electron microscopes, the way radiation penetrated some of those stalks. So again, not to get too technical, but the majority are real. The crop circles are created by extraterrestrials. Yes. Number 6 in the countdown. In Colorado, a ballot initiative narrowly passed mandating restoration of wolves into one of 2 identified sections in southwest Colorado, bringing into the state's 30 to 50 wolves by 2024. So far, discussions have been heated between ranchers and farmers, and those encouraging the proposed plan. What do your guides think about this reintroduction, and will it be successful? I read on this last year, and my team said that there would be a successful reintroduction of wolves. It's pending here successful negotiation with landowners and ranchers, that kind of a thing, but it will happen. So negotiation going to happen here. And there's something about a 50-mile radius or something where wolves will migrate to, not a wildlife expert, but there's something about a negotiation here as to where the wolves will be placed, and negotiation with ranchers. It's all going to happen. And so this aligns with what my team said even last year that would be successfully occurring this year. 5, will we find out that the FBI helped Russia put 45 in as president and help with January 6? Yes, this information is already well known by the federal government, and the information will be much more in public by the end of 2023 this year. 4, hi Sterling. The other day, my mother was on YouTube. A message box appeared, and it said, "My Michael." She had never seen this box come up before, and she was wondering if it was a message being sent to her by her husband, Michael, who passed away recently. Yes, absolutely. And wonderful that your husband, Michael, was able to produce this. It takes some talent on the other side to make these things appear before loved ones. So congratulations. This was a husband, Michael, and making a very strong, reaching out kind of a love and a hug, if you will, from the other side. I love when that happens, because as I said, it does take some real skill on the other side to make these things happen for our loved ones. 3, how does Princess Diana feel about Prince Harry's memoir and the rift dividing the prince and the royal family? So here's that, she came through earlier in the show. We were talking about the mediumship from Princess Diana. But what I get from her again here, she's very proud of the independence being demonstrated by her sons, and she's supportive and acknowledges the big shift that's going to be going on in the royal family here, more towards a focus overall on humanity and kind of spreading love and kindness, and less about control and power, and a focus on any one individual. So what I get from her right now, very proud of the changes coming up and the independence executed by her sons. And that would include the book that was just put out. The book, and the title was Spare, right? 2 in the countdown. So for those who watch the show, when I get down to number 2, number 1, I take some notes in advance of the show so we can get them across to you much easier. So number 2 in the show, do you see anything coming up this week? New flooding and water events in kind of the southern areas of the U.S. and some of the island areas. New Russia strike forces being deployed into Ukraine. So a little bit of a surprise here. There is a resurgence here from Russia, but new strike forces being deployed. New difficulties for the Prime Minister of the UK that he'll overcome very quickly, but it's like some new information release coming out, but looks like it gets squelched very quickly, that UK Prime Minister addresses it very quickly, whatever this is. And a potential major airline accident being diverted in Europe, a European area. So whether this is almost a near collision or something happening here, but kind of a near miss airline accident they're talking about for me, looks like in Europe. And number 1 in the countdown, do you have anything your guys want to share? The world is changing for the better faster than you know. It always takes an effort to remove hurt, pain, and ignorance in the world in order to make way for the spring to come. So on that note, I want to thank everybody for joining us for this show being recorded for January 29, 2023. As always, if you need to reach me, look for sterlingpsychicmedium.com. Look for the Book a Session tab. I also want to, as a side note here, my team is reminding me, I want to connect that final message that my guides and angels had, and I think how it connects wonderfully with the messaging that Princess Diana had at the head of the show. And so on that note, I'll remind everybody I'm doing a show with Linda Grindle also on Sunday, January 29th, 2023. That will appear on Linda's channel. I'm going to send out a lot of goodwill and tremendous love to you and your families. Take care. I'll see you very soon.